together to form what would become the moral and convened by Bishop Matthew Hassan 2015 team.
A few minutes of second national anthem. Thank you very much. For those of us still outside, we kindly ask you to come in and have your seats.
Like I said, my brother. Okay, they'll leave her.
The only ones to make her better, the only ones to make Anambra shine. Her life, every breath of our lives, we'll be living togetherness, we'll build a land of progress.
We are gathered here for a purpose that rises above all personal ambition or party interest. The signing of this peace accord is solemn declaration that the peace, security, and dignity of the people of Anambra State must remain paramount. Democracy can only thrive where there is restraint, where there is respect for the law, and where human life is held sacred. Anambra holds a special place in our country, rich in heritage, leadership, entrepreneurship, and innovation. To the distinguished candidates and political parties, today's commitment is not in words only. It is a duty that calls for discipline, honor, and responsibility. Leadership is not only in seeking office, but in safeguarding peace and ensuring that there is no life is put at risk. To INEC, we urge continued transparency and readiness, for the trust of the people rests greatly on your conduct. IGP and all security agencies, we appeal for professionalism, impartiality, and calm assurance. The purpose of security is to protect and not to intimidate. To the media, we appeal for reporting that informs and builds understanding, and not reporting that stirs fear or division.
As the Independent National Electoral Commission Chairman, I am proud to be part of this signing of the Peace Accord for Anambra State 2025 governorship obstacle election. So therefore, I'm determined and committed to ensure that this election is credible, this election is fair, and this election is free and peaceful. Of course, let me also say, as much as we are determined to make it a peaceful election, fair, free, and just, we can only succeed if we have corresponding supports from other stakeholders. And that underscores the import of this peace accord that we are signing today. Today, we gather in Anambra State, just days before yet another important governorship election, in which 16 political parties will be participating. As the election management body, I want to reassure all political parties and candidates that INEC will remain fully committed to discharging its duties in line with the law, global best practices, and the very principles enshrined in the peace accord.
The Nigerian police force stands prepared to ensure that this democratic exercise unfolds under an atmosphere of absolute security, fairness, and public confidence. As the lead agency for internal security and election management, the Nigerian police force fully recognizes its statutory responsibility under Section 4 of the Police Act 2020 to prevent crime, preserve public order, protect lives and property, and enforce all laws with due respect for human rights. Any attempt to undermine public peace, manipulate the electoral process, or intimidate voters will be met with stiff, lawful, and proportionate force. We are resolute that under no circumstances will criminality be permitted to masquerade as political expression. The peace of Anambra State is not negotiable, and the integrity of this election will not be compromised. The Nigerian police force will provide sufficient officers and men who will be deployed to cover all 4,608 polling units, ensuring voter safety, ballot integrity, and the protection of election officials. The armed forces of Nigeria will contribute adequate personnel stationed at strategic tactical reserves along local government boundaries to respond rapidly to any large-scale security breach. And hardly to make sure that democracy becomes believable, that democracy becomes credible, and democracy becomes something that the people of Nigeria can hold on to and trust. So on behalf of the National Peace Committee and the members and other well-meaning Nigerians, I extend our profound appreciation to everyone who has honored this important occasion. The INEC chairman has already indicated, I think it's also good that he's a professor, and the governor, who is one of the contestants, is also a professor. So Professor Jam, Professor, I'm sure that INEC has already set the bar. If you are not a professor, you have no hope of being INEC chairman. But I'm sure that this also will bring in a certain level of quality, resilience, and experience about democratic processes. The confidence of the citizens is strengthened when institutions carry out their duties with fairness and honor.
And I think reading through the wordings of the peace agreement that we signed, it's quite a very, very important addition to our democratic process. What we have signed today, I take it as a sacred oath that each of us has signed onto. And I want to believe that as we go home, let's try to domesticate now the document that we have here. We trust the INEC process. We know you have developed very rigorous processes. The processes that have been deployed, INEC over the last few years, the general elections, the pre-run elections, the latest by-election in Anambra, actually gone to give us the confidence that a free, fair, transparent election is possible. It's not just possible, it's something that INEC has over time now consistently delivered in Anambra. And we expect this time around nothing short. We expect that it will even be far better. Whether there are hitches, and listening to the chairman, I'm very delighted when you talked about the early commencement in terms of logistics, that the election will commence as advertised. Excellent. Once that is done, and the processes as you outlined, we're very eager to get all that you are addressed today, and I'm sure all the candidates would like to internalize in terms of all the processes.
Of course, you can hear them today. INEC have reassured us that they are going to provide a free and fair ground for a free and fair election, and I believe them. And with the new INEC chairman, looking at him, you can see when he's talking, you see the seriousness in trying to make sure that whatever he said, that he's going to live up to it. I have nothing but to believe him that it's going to be free and fair election. And that's what everybody should be wanting this time around in Anambra State and in Nigeria general. And I think with our democracy having been practiced for so long now, we should be matured to embrace free and fair election.